At that time, the Roman Emperor Augustus decreed that a census should be taken throughout the entire Roman world. This was the first census when Quirinius was governor of Syria.
Then Pilate called together the leading priests and other religious leaders, along with the people, and he announced his verdict. "You brought this man to me, accusing him of leading a revolt. I have examined him thoroughly on this point in your presence and find him innocent. Nothing this man has done calls for the death penalty. So I will have him flogged, and then I will release him."
All returned to their ancestral towns to register for the census. And because Joseph was a descendant of King David, he had to go to Bethlehem in Judea, David's ancient town. He traveled there from the village of Nazareth in Galilee. He took with him Mary, to whom he was engaged, who was now expecting a child.
But the mob shouted louder and louder, demanding that Jesus be crucified, and their voices prevailed. So Pilate sentenced Jesus to die as they demanded. As they had requested, he released Barabbas, the man in prison for insurrection and murder. But he turned Jesus over to them to do as they wished.
And while they were there, the time came for her baby to be born.
When they came to the place called the Skull, they nailed him to the cross. And the criminals were there also, crucified, one on his right and one on his left. And Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they are doing."
She gave birth to her firstborn son. She wrapped him snugly in strips of cloth.
And the soldiers gambled for his clothes by throwing dice.
And laid him in a manger, because there were no lodging available for them. That night there were shepherds staying in the field nearby. They were guarding their flock of sheep.
And the crowd watched.
Suddenly an angel of the Lord appeared among them, and the radiance of the Lord's glory surrounded them. They were terrified, but the angel reassured them. "Don't be afraid," he said. "I bring you good news that will bring great joy to all people. The Savior, yes, the Messiah, the Lord, has been born today in Bethlehem, the city of David."
The leaders scoffed. "He saved others," they said. "Let him save himself if he's really God's Messiah, the chosen one."
And you will recognize him by this sign.
The light from the sun was gone, and suddenly the curtain in the sanctuary of the temple was torn down the middle. Then Jesus shouted, "Father, I entrust my spirit into your hands."
You'll find a baby, wrapped snugly in strips of cloth.
Then Joseph of Arimathea took the body down from the cross and wrapped it in a long sheet of linen cloth,
lying in a manger.
And they laid it in a new tomb that had been carved out of rock.